Morning, everybody. You all right? Right. Video this morning is what I keep going on about 60s and 70s classics. I'm not going to go into 50s because there might be a bit of a complex. Well, there probably aren't, but I'm not, that could be. We'll do another video on that because there's a bit more to learn. Right. So we all know taxes going crazy with what I call as like modern classics. So we're all well aware of that. And I want to run over now. If you're going to buy a classic, 60s, 70s, it's an on-road classic, or it looks drivable, or, it's not taken to pieces. No, it's not a project. It's not a shed. Because I'm going to go on to the shed bit about your restoration as well. So, right. So, let's say if you've bought something, I don't know, whatever. I always go on about them. Austin 1100, right? Austin 1100, Austin Allegro. All straightforward, all pretty straightforward, or Mini, something like that. A series, general A series, BL. BL, sorry. And right, so you've got your car, gone out, got it. He used to drive it 3 or 4 years back. He said, "Guys, a bit mucky. Starts up, drives, you can move it, brakes work, but not 100%." Right. Well, first thing you want to do, and to be honest, because you'll probably be pleasantly surprised, is wash it. Get a good wash. Get a right good foam of it, right? And it's going to leak. I know it's going to leak because it will do. I'd probably lay a bit of wax in here. They used to all lay a bit of wax in the odd corner, stuff like that. But that's just part and parcel. See how bad it is. If screens like seals rotted out, well, they've rotted out. You're going to find that. You're going to find all this bit of A4 paper. Well, a pad of A4 paper, to be honest, because you might have a big list. Right. So get you some wash stuff, get it done. Right. Starts up. Right. First, another thing. Very important. If you're going to have a classic, you're going to start driving it because it's one of the first letdowns that'll let everybody down. Has it got a good battery on? Because if you haven't got a good battery, well, it'll start fine sometimes. It'll catch on just right. Well, when it just needs to crank a bit to pull a bit of fuel or something, well, it won't. So that's another priority. So really, they're your first port of calls with anything you're doing. So wash it, make sure the battery's right. Right, so you've got your car, you're exempt from MOT, and you're exempt from tax. So you've got your V5, or you sent your new keeper's log, but you've got it taxed. Well, just before you race ramp block, if it's been sat about just a couple of years or whatever, not really been used, just get pedal fuel presses on brakes. Just put it up in air, get it on some axle stands, and because you're going to find all sorts of things. You're going to find loads of them, and just take wheels off, just have a look. Have a look round, any damp patches, out leaking, a bit of a drip on back hubs, it could be something like that. It could be on one of these. If it is, you might be leaking on your back brake calipers. It's quite common on them. It does happen. It's only one seal that goes, but it goes, and so is it. And just have a look round your brake pipes, your flexes, stuff like that. So you're all right. If you're in doubt, just get a brake pipe clip, right? All brake pipes, get your flexes. They will be available. If you can't get them, right, Count Engineering, a firm around near me at Rotherham, it don't matter where you are in the country, if you ring them up and you send them something, they'll sort it out for you and they'll send it back. I'm sure Carlton deal nationwide. They deal with everybody. They never ever struggle to. They need 24 hours for them on test to make sure that the crimps are right. So that's your braking system. Obviously, you're going to get shoes. You're going to get pads, right? I know you'll see them advertising. Then I get loads of people. Have you got this? Have you got that? And the answer is yes. Yeah, I've got it. And then I put them to one side. Then I never hear from them. So they think they're going to restore something, or they think they're going to drive something. Well, they're going nowhere because people like that are just never even going to hit it off on classic seat. If you know with a pair of shoes, well, for say, I don't know. Last thing I think I ever got asked for Macri Zodiac or Zephyr. Got them. They never came back to me. So that car will be sat somewhere idle. But if you're going to drive one, that's what you want to go through. So let's have a look at that. Obviously, it's a running car. Now, your fuel system, there's a good chance if it's been sat around 5 years or so, 3 to 5. Well, if it's probably been sat 10 years, there's a good chance fuel system might have been through. Somebody might have line tank. They've been doing that stuff for quite a while. So just have a general check through. Hope silly. When you've got inline filters, I don't overlike them, to be honest. I'd sooner have a fixed filter on inner wing and do it that way if you can. That's your call, or it can be a job on your list. Because, like I said, drive and survive. That's what you're gonna do with it. So you're gonna hit issues, but if you can nail some of these issues, there's like bits of rubber pipe on it that just look a bit fresh. Well, get some new, get some unleaded stuff, get some proper. Just change it. I'm just pointing you in that direction. If you say, picked something up that it's not a full recommission. It's just a look round. What some firms class as a full recommission is a look round. You know, I mean, when I did the 66 Zodiac that you see me driving around, it was a full recommission because engine was frozen. You know, braking system hadn't had pedal press since 75 or something stupid like that. Handbrake hadn't been pulled on. Well, that was a full recommission. It didn't need taking to bits, but I had to go through it. I went through it properly. But we like what I'm saying. Your stuff that might have been sat around 10, 5, 3 years. You know, been in a garage. Oh, he did used to drive it. Well, that's what you need to hear. He did used to drive it. Because that's one that you can, what is it? You'll be able to drive it and you'll be able to make it survive, you know. That's what this video is mainly about. I mean, I'm going to go on, as I've said earlier, to this stuff. But, so you go through fuel system, that's your sorted. If in doubt, pull your tank out, line it. It's not a big job. It's pretty straightforward how you follow it. I mean, I think I've done clips on channel. I could probably do some more. And then your fuel system sorted. So then I would definitely, if you can, have a good look at your coolant system. If it sits there idling on your drive and it's fine, well, you're probably all right. But you will blow a note sooner or later if they perish. So if you've got them, stick them on. But to be honest, a point I will make out with cooling system is a lot of your old pipes, you know, your rubbers, are a lot better than a lot of the reproduction stuff. So generally think about what you're doing, you know. But if you've got something awkward up back here that looks a bit perished in either side, well, get rid of it, you know. But you get a nice piece of pipe, you know. You don't have to have that when you get something that'll bend steady and get you there. So get that out of the way. I mean, rad, if it's driving, not overheating, well, I should imagine rad's pretty all right. But don't forget, they do run a bit hotter than modern cars. You know, they ain't got an electric fan cooling on. Put one on if you want. You know, some people's preference. It's personally not mine, but I tend to avoid idling in traffic if I can. But if you're idling in traffic, don't shut it off. You want your fan pushing through, so it'll keep it cool. So to be honest, right, you're there, you're honest, you know, and then it's going to rip on the seat. Oh, I might get it. Well, don't get that done. Chuck a seat cover over it. You know, don't bother about that. Just drive it. Enjoy it. You know, enjoy it as much as you can. If it niggles you and it gets to like when it's freezing cold mornings, if heater's not world's best, well, you might take it off road then, or decide to drive Mrs.'s car, or you probably will have another car because you might have to travel. You don't know. You might not use it all the time. You might have regular runs 100 mile away that you don't want to choose to use this car. So you can do them bits and pieces then, but they're the basic things. Obviously, your tyres is another issue. I pointed that out in plenty of my videos. You know, your tyres, get some tyres on it because, listen, well, let's say it costs you 400 quid. Let's say it costs you 100 quid a corner. Well, listen, the difference it will make to the car, and well, go and get spared on and all, and make sure you've got a jack and make sure you've got a wheel brace because the difference that will make will be unbelievable. So if you're driving and surviving, I mean, already there's a point I haven't gone on to, but I will go on to, is ignition. Now, your ignition, in all fairness, especially if it's an A series, it's Lucas. Well, I've told you, and I've told you before times many. Right, the distributor doctor, that's the end of that problem. If you've got any doubts in ignition side, don't fit an aftermarket super spark, blah, whatever. Well, you can do, but I don't go down that road. I go back to points, I'm back to, condenser, and I have distributor doctor, recon me distributors. Forget it. The star. It's a new set of copper leads, and probably run a bit hotter plug, because if you're going to be in a bit of congestion, it'll burn carbon off a little bit better. So, right, let's see you there. So you get driving along, I don't know, about a year or two, aren't it? And then I just think this is just smoking a bit. Well, how bad is it smoking? How bad is it? You know, and how much time do you need for your job? So you find out, I think, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull my engine out and I'm going to have it reboot. But well, listen, your engine, right? Straightforward. Don't matter if it's a Ford, AC, it don't matter if it's a Fiat. Don't matter what it is. They're all nuts and bolts. They all come apart. They're not overcomplicated. You've not got a V12 Jag on bench. Well, you can't do it if you're that brave, you know. I mean, they're not over hard, but you'll try getting heads off a V12 Jag and you've got a big problem, unless you know exactly what you're doing. I can tell you now. So stick within your limits if you're going to go down this bit of a classic road and just be sensible with it. Now, Right, so you're going to decide to do your engine. Right, before you even consider putting a spanner on and taking your bonnet off, manuals, you know what I'm like? Right, your Bible, your pre-flight checks. Right, you're going to take this engine to bits, you're going to get your manual, you're going to drive Mrs. Insane if you've got one, you know, you might not have got one, she might have gone years ago because she's that much into cars, she's into something else, you've drove her insane. That's how it goes sometimes. So, get through your manual, get yourself familiar with it, work out what you want. Right, you haven't got it in bits, so you don't know what pistons you want, you don't know what shells you want, you know, you'll know you can chain, you'll know where to get a chain, know that where to get timing gate if you need it, but you may do, you may not, you know, it may come as a kit. So, right, so get yourself familiar, get your spreadsheet done out, get where you're going, then going. And also, before you go in and take out, make sure you're from a good machinist. If you're in doubt, contact me, I'll point you to some lads who'll nail it. So I've got some good people in this last couple of years of reshuffling around with this company. I've managed to pull quite a few people who are very professional and can do the job. So it's going to help you 120%. If you're stuck, contact me, point you in the right direction. You might have to have a run up here. Well, if you have a run up this way to drop an engine off for boring or whatever, we'll call you and have a cup of tea at the same time. You're all welcome, you know that. So that's it. So you can get engine done, build it up. It's all straightforward. It's all stuff that I show you. You know, you've seen me drop, what is it? You've seen me drop pistons into liners. You'll see liners going because these liners are under work now. Where these engines I've got on. I know things seem a lot winded, but this business runs a bit different than average sort of plates. I've got to keep a million balls in air to keep it alive. That's just the way it is. You know, it doesn't really make a lot of money, but we managed to keep us doors open. And I'm doing it mainly. I mean, I enjoy this channel. I enjoy doing this channel. But I enjoy passing this knowledge on to you because I think you need it. So you get your engine back, you put it together, build it up, good gasket set. Always keep your old gaskets when you've taken it to bit. Always check when your new gaskets because they vary, right? And you'll hit a problem, you know, but there's plenty of gasket people. Same as I say, if you're struggling with gasket, contact me. Point you in the right direction. Get it together. Also to that, if you have your dizzy done, new dizzying, get it on time, you know, static time it up. Get it in, fuel it up. If your fuel system's still good, if you found your fuel system did need work, like you were going to do your tank, you keep clogging filters up, etc. Well, now's your chance while you've got that bit of time down, you know, so get on with it. Right, so you've got turnkey. I mean, obviously, knock a wire off coil if you're first going, let oil get round, you know, and when you build it, make sure you build it correctly. Plenty of what is it, oil on every bearing when you're building. Plenty, loads and loads and loads, and even probably pack your oil pump up a bit. So, all done, get a crank, get some oil pressure, put your coil on. When it fires up, it'll put a great smile on your face. That'll be it. You know, it'll be back alive. You might have a bit of messing about, a bit of carburation work, you know, it's part of your fuel system. I go off carburetors, you can ask me if you're stuck. You know, read your books. Carburetors are pretty straightforward. A-series, Berlin Fuel got more stuff. They do have some Zenith stuff for forwards. Autolite stuff, a bit hard to find, you know, but contact me, you want to know, or you think you've got a problem. Probably help you out. Right, so you'll basically be back alive again. Now, what you're doing with rest is up to you. Well, personally, I'd drive it. Now, if it's got a bit of bubbling here, there, and everywhere, and it's hanging on, well, keep driving it. Because I'm telling you, when you finally take it to bits, if you ever take it to bits, you go down the restoration road. Now, this is what I'm going to move on to now. I'm just pointing you at a quick shuffle down, like, find and drive. That's it. Find your car, drive it. You know, enjoy it, you know, so that make it survive. And now, if you're going restore road, before you even consider taking one to bits, well, I would say, have you got a spare 2 or 3 years? Because you will find that many things and that many issues. And also, it's not the best job in the world restoring a car, especially if you're probably a bit of a DIY. I know you'll get passionate about it and it'll bring a new spark to your life if you're a bit older. You know, I mean, if you're young, be careful as well, because don't go upsetting her if you've got kids. You know, you've got to spend time out. That's what I'm saying, 2 or 3 years. You've not got a lot of time. And then get it down to a shell. Get it dipped. You may as well have it dropped in acid. Don't even start. Well, you can mess about if you want to mess about on your drive and upset all your neighbours, you know, and stuff like that. Buy loads of grinding noise. Try to avoid that. You'll make enough grinding noise when you decide to have a go at welding or bits and pieces. Or ship it out to a shop. You know, find a shop that'll just do shell, do your welding. I'd do it for you. No doubt. No problem. I'd do that. To have a shell just come for plating and to just go away is like a dream job. You know, I mean, if you don't have to tackle paint, you might find somebody else. You might fancy painting it yourself and do it filling work. But when you're in resto, like I said, 2 or 3 years planning, massive spreadsheet. What you're going to do? How you're going to put lume in it? All various things. You probably know your engine's rate because you might have sorted that. You know your box's rate. You've been driving it. You know everything. Rest of running gears rate. Well, it's more or less a clean up, paint up. So unless you want to have a concourse car, but if you've driven a classic car and driven it and made it survive, like I've just been going on about, you won't want a concourse car because you'll want to enjoy it. You're probably nailing the body because you know you've got it. I mean, some of you might even just find a donor shell, do that, and then build it into that. You know, but just be a bit careful what you're doing. You know, you've got to be a bit careful with your numbers, bits of stuff like that. Just be careful what you're saying. You know, because can be a bit heavy-quavy with DVLA on various things, but the main point I'm trying to get over here is you can do this, and these cars are going to be there because you're not going to be now just running around. Well, you can be if you want to spend 700 odd quid a year, you know, on something like an Audi. I've got an older car, it's 25-year-old or something, or 30 year. But if you get an older car, you can still do exactly the same. It'll still keep up with traffic, and you can still keep it on road. And club side of things, which isn't helping a lot of spec, even if you're doing a full resto, you know, but they're waning. Your clubs are waning, they're disappearing. You know, they're shutting up the older end that did them. They're too old, you know, and some are not coming through. And I mean, you might go, oh, I'm going to get a club. Well, listen, if you want to set a club up and all that, I have enthusiasm, listen, it's fantastic. If that's what you're thinking, it's fantastic. But just bear in mind, you've got one of these and you're enjoying it. And then especially if you've decided you come to that point in your life where you're taking it to bits, you've got your garage sorted, she's happy with that, she's got a new kitchen or whatever, you're going to spend your money on that and you're going to go through it. Right, well, if you're setting a club up, you need time for it. So that's time you ain't got to do this. And also, if you've got one in bits, you're not at shows with it, you know, and then don't buy 2 or 3. You've probably not got facilities to cover 2 or 3. You'll find you're just chasing yourself, you know. I've got cars, but the cars I've acquired have a lot of time. And it's my profession. It's like something that's in me that was developed in me from being young, and I don't know any different. You know, I'm not saying you're all like that, but these are just pointers I'm giving you. Say, I've told you, if you're buying one, drive it and survive it. It's straightforward. I've been over basic issues. It will work, and you will keep it going. You know, I'm absolutely 120% confident. But just if you get in an area that you're stumbling, message me, contact me, phone me up. I can probably I'll tell you something that you've never even drifted down. You know, it might not even be manual, you know, because these things are going to survive. They're going to survive by people that have got the knowledge left and the experience to pass on to people are going to point them in the right road. But what we need for these to survive is we need people sat in them and driving them. And also, we'd still need a few restoring because you might have one of them that it's not concourse, it's a good driver, but if you tweaked it, it's gone over 30 years. Well, somebody else is going to have another bite at cherry of it. So, thanks for watching anyway. It'll just escalate this video because everything's escalating in my YouTube channel. It's going from this to this, we're bouncing off this, bouncing off that. Because that's what we do. We're just bouncing off classics day in, day out. And give us a like if you like it. Also, subscribe to my channel. You want to see proper interesting stuff on proper old stuff. Well, it's not. I mean, I say it is old. Yeah, it is old because I'm 62. It is old. It is old. So, and I don't look at them all as old, but I still got visions of them when I was young and stuff like that. And so I've no doubt a lot of other people. And that's a comment you want to know. And also, share channel about because I'm trying to get a bit of a different community together with this channel. That the people who want to use them, want to make them survive, and want to have fun at them because they're a bundle of fun. And to be honest, it's probably, I know it might sound a bit cruel, but I know that they're out there to, I think they're out there to probably put them to bed so you're all driving electric. But I think by what they've done with cars they've done, I think they've put these back on map a bit. So thanks for watching anyway, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow, no doubt. Catch you later. Thank you.